thank you so much for coming and checking out today's interview. Today I have SeeouRView, and I really like the way that they put their name because they have RV in it. So if you take another look at that, that's just brilliant, honestly. Um, Before I introduce them, though, I just wanted to take care of a couple housekeeping kinds of things. I noticed that there's been a lot of difficulty with people figuring out the time for when my live stream is, and difficulty in the time changes and zones with my guests. And today I finally figured out why that is. So I live in Saskatchewan, right in the center of the prairies in Saskatchewan, and our province does not have a time change. Our time never changes. It's always the same. What makes things interesting is the time zones around us change. So what's happening right now is I realized I am mountain time. And when the time change occurs at the beginning of November, we become central time, because there is no central standard time anywhere else in the world right now, not in North America. So that's why we have some changes. So I'm going to make sure that I put whether I'm mountain time or central time when I list the interviews, just to make it a little bit easier for everyone else and for the guests that I get on the channel. Anyone that's a moderator, I appreciate your help with everything in the show. So if you're here, you are more than welcome to drop your link at any time. And just to let you guys know, today's guest link is also in the description of this video, so that it'll be really easy for you to click on there and go take a look at some of the really funny stuff that they have going. Hello, my friend. Thanks for coming in. Erin, so nice to see you. Can't wait for Friday. I hope you're as excited as I am. Borman family, thank you so much. You're new here. Well, I hope that I entertain you today. And if I don't, I can guarantee you that my guests will. In order to do justice for the introduction for this pair that is sitting before me right now that I'm going to pull up, I need to show you their introduction to their channel. I think that speaks volumes about the kind of content that you're going to see from them. So I am just going to pull up my share screen here right now. My Chrome tab, make sure I'm sharing some audio. And I'm going to see, does that show? That does show. Beautiful. I just want to make it a little bit bigger for you guys. If I can move that a little. All right, check this out. Isn't that fantastic, you guys? I absolutely love that trailer. That introduction's fantastic. Hey, Linda, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Tim and Crystal.
Hi.
Hello, my friends. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome. You guys are hot stuff. I tell you, you're everywhere on the internet.
Wow, that intro.
That's something else. Hey, I still giggle every time I see it. I was trying not to today, right? But I'm like, oh my God, I have to have these people on my show.
I'm just so grateful that people like it.
And you did that, didn't you? You
I
created that.
did.
You are really good at that.
Thank you. I do everything on my phone right now because I don't have a MacBook and my laptop is so old that it can't handle video editing. So everything is just through iMovie on my iPhone.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
impressed.
All of that. So I know when I first watched you guys, before you had that intro, I was like, are you a couple? No, you guys couldn't be a couple, but you don't look like you're related. So I'm really thankful for the introduction. You are father and daughter.
The dad.
The dad.
We actually get that quite a lot. It started just shortly after my 18th birthday when we were out at the movies, and people just kept assuming it over and over. And we've been checking out Thousand Trails parks, like checking in, and I'd be in the office and other people were talking, and they'd stop me and they go, "So how many kids do you two have?" And I'm like, I'm the kid. I've literally had to say that before.
Well, you know what? My brother was born when I was in grade 10, and everybody assumes that I'm his mom. So I got the opposite end of that, right? I'm like,
Wow.
why? Why can't someone just think that's my brother? I'm only 16 years older than him, right?
I guess, though, in a way, I'm kind of grateful for it because it speaks volumes to our dynamic. You know, I mean, we're always.
We don't argue like an old married couple. Let's not go there.
Well, no, but I mean, we're just
We're close.
we're very close, and we do almost everything together. I mean, we go grocery shopping, we go
Hiking.
I don't go do the laundry with them. That's about it. So everything else, I mean,
That's a plus of being the dad, right?
yeah.
You know, as you were talking, I saw some deer. Oh, there's it again. There is deer running in behind there. If I look just
Yeah.
past the bikes, they just keep cruising back and forth. That is so nice. Where are you guys right now?
We're at a Thousand Trails park called Colorado River. It's in Columbus, Texas.
It's about midway between San Antonio and Houston.
And how long have you been there?
Since Monday.
Yeah, since Monday. But,
How long do you guys stay in a place at a time?
21 days typically.
yeah, 3 weeks.
And how long have you been doing this?
3 years now, actually. We just hit the 3-year mark back in July. So it's been wild. I never thought we would have made it this far, honestly.
Well, that's an interesting dynamic to have parents and an adult child, right? Living together at all, let alone like this.
My brother used to be with us too. He jumped ship after the first year. So there were 4 of us.
He got tired of not having stable internet and being able to play video games anytime he wanted, you know.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I want my internet. I want my internet.
Well, and that's the thing. I was wondering, you know, because you guys are traveling and stuff, as with so many of my guests, I never know if their Wi-Fi is going to work well or not when it's time to come live on the show, right?
We never do too.
Jiu-Jitsu 2000, he saw those deer too. Didn't know if it was dogs or deer at first when they were running behind. Hello, Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs. Great to see you here today. So,
in fact, our first interview on Daydream About Nice Things, we had to
Cancel and
reschedule because where we were at, the
internet
internet was just so poor we couldn't do it.
yeah, that's pretty tough. But you were on there again today, but you were talking about something else today.
Her books.
I get nervous every time they bring it up, and my face goes as red as my shirt.
Well, we'll just say it's the shirt reflecting on your face. That's all that color is. I mean, I know what it's like to turn color when I get embarrassed. So could you tell us a little bit about, because you have 2 books.
Yes, I do. The first one, I don't have them with me anymore, but the first one is called We Survived Our First Year in an RV, and it's the nonfiction account. I wrote it before we started YouTube, and it was kind of my way of letting family and friends know, like, hey, this is the crazy journey that we went on. This is what happened in our first year, and we made it, you know, because when you ask our friends what they'll say when we told them we were first going on an RV, they all thought we were crazy. Even his family thought
You're
we
gonna
were
die
crazy.
out there somewhere in the boondocks.
So that's kind of just my account of, hey, we did it, we made it, and it's got his pictures in it, so it's my words but his pictures, because he takes a lot of photos.
I noticed on your channel you have some links, and the photography was phenomenal.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God, that's all yours, Tim?
Mostly. In the early days, I played around with this camera a little bit, like on travel days, because I used to ride in the RV on travel days. So while he was driving, I would be taking pictures on the camera, just while we were going, just out the window, off the cuff. But now that my brother's not with us, since we don't tow our truck, I drive the truck, so I can't do that anymore. But so they're
Okay.
mostly his now.
Yeah, when we go out on a hike or somewhere and I take my camera, it's not unheard of for me to take at least 500 pictures on an outing.
Well, I don't know what you're doing, but they are so great.
I
Wow.
get lucky.
Oh, I love having modest people on the show, right? I think you're probably blushing a little more than she did. Just kidding.
Well,
If you weren't
maybe just
before,
a
I'm going to
red
make sure you are now. And what is the second book?
The second book is called RV Crazy, and I really, since nonfiction wasn't my wheelhouse, I really wanted to just take a fictional story and, you know, on YouTube, I'd like to say that we're not the highlight reel on YouTube, and I wanted to write a story about a dysfunctional family and, like, some of their motivations for going into RV life, and, you know, kind of how that would work versus what you see on YouTube, where it's just a cohesive family unit, where they're all happy, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to just do a short, and it is the first, especially the opening bits are really emotional for me because I put a lot of my story in there, even if it's exaggerated or there's some stuff that didn't, you know, it is fiction, but there's a lot of truth in the emotion behind it, and so it's even still that makes it a little hard to talk about because I'm so attached to it that way. And there's some parts where I'm like, ooh, should I have put that in there? You know, is that too much of myself in there?
But we don't know which part is fiction and which isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Oh,
decide.
I'm excited. Pardon?
I said, you decide.
Like it's one of those stories where we get to pick which direction it goes. But Crystal, you have it available in paperback and electronically?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're all on Amazon.
I definitely want the book. So I'm gonna order the paperback version because I find I really like when I'm out and about in here, I just like plain paper books. That's my favorite.
I do too.
I cried when we had to downsize and I had to sell most of my books because my room was just full of books and I cried so hard.
Aww. Well, I actually have like a little book library, so to speak, in here because one of the perks of traveling is getting away from a lot of that electronic stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of brings me back to the way things were once before, and it makes me feel young. Does that make sense?
I love the smell of a book. You know,
yes.
Cracking open a new book. Oh my gosh, there's nothing better.
She kept her collection of autographed and her favorites.
Books, but it was still, I let go of a lot of my childhood books.
Yeah.
Aww.
And, I mean, me being in the computer industry, I've had books from, you know, when I first got into it in the early 80s all the way up through the 2000s that, I mean, I had an entire library full of computer books that I had to let go of.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that process like downsizing? Because you had a family of 4, and then you moved into what? Now, can you tell me what vehicle you're in again? I can see it.
It's a 1993 Fleetwood Southland, so it's a Class A. It's 34 foot.
Yeah. We went from about 2,004 square feet down to around 200 square feet. So
holy moly.
We brought out the boxing gloves when we were downsizing.
Well, we didn't have any help doing it either, so it was literally just us trying to get rid of 10 years worth of stuff in the house. It was...
And not only our stuff, but when my father passed and my mother sold her house and she had a U-Haul full of stuff, that all ended up in my house. When
Oh,
my wife's parents or my wife's mom died and they sold their house, a bunch of stuff from her house ended up in our house. Things from aunts and uncles ended up. I mean, we couldn't even walk through our garage. It was so full of stuff. And, we just, to the point where, I mean, I didn't even want to go through it. There was so much stuff that was just crazy.
well, that's something I'm just starting because I don't know when I'm going to go full time, right? But, and I mean, there was only two of us in the home, but it is really hard
It
to
is.
let this stuff go. And I didn't realize how emotionally attached that I was onto so many things. Like, how did you do it in stages, or how did you even start?
We did it quick, fast, and in a hurry.
We started giving away stuff to friends, like once we were in shopping for an RV. But at the same time, when we were shopping for the RV, we were in the process of putting our house on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as we closed on the RV, I backed it into the driveway, hooked it up to electric, and we spent 30 days putting what we could bring with us in the RV, kind of trying it out and figuring out what would fit, what wouldn't. And then when we pulled the RV out of there,
like
everything else had to go.
go.
And so we were giving it away. We were trying to sell it. We were throwing it in the dumpster.
We were donating it.
We were donating Goodwill. I mean, anything and everything we could to just get rid of it.
And you did it so fast.
Yeah.
Is there any regrets on how you handled it? Like, did you keep anything in storage? Do you wish you kept anything in storage even for a little while?
The only thing that we've thought of that we were like, can you really believe we got rid of that, was heirloom Christmas decorations.
Like stuff that I made when I was a kid.
And we didn't even realize we threw them out until Christmas came around, and we were like, our decorations.
Because at that point, we were just dealing with so much that by the time we got to the Christmas decorations, we were at the point where we were like, just everything needs to go. Just throw it. And then we didn't even look in the boxes. And so,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Wow.
We were under a lot of pressure from our realtor because he really wanted that house empty to sell it faster.
Well, at the same time, we were putting pressure on him to get it sold, and he was telling us, I can't sell it while you're still in it.
Exactly.
So, it was a catch-22 there. We had to just do what we had to do to get out of there and move on. And, like I said, I don't regret any of it, really. I've never looked back.
Killer Whale Channel says he wants to scale down and live in a tiny house or RV as well. And I think there's more people that are taking that path. And it's not just people that have it as an only resort. Like, this is a lifestyle choice. This is a dream come true for people. When did you guys start dreaming of this?
Well, I call it improving our quality of life rather than our quantity of life. When her final year of college, that's when I started thinking about, what do I want to do now that we don't have to be in one place? Because I worked from home, and we really, it was
sedentary lives.
Yeah, I worked all day and was up working most of the night, and this was day in and day out. So to me, getting out of those four walls was a life
improvement.
Yes, it was either do or die.
And now your office is sitting outside with deer running in the background. I mean, does life get any better than that?
Right. You said you used to go on trips with your family in an RV. I'd never really heard of RVing.
Back when I was a teenager and we lived in Tennessee, we would take summers and go up into the mountains and spend our summer vacations in an RV. So I had those memories of when I was younger. And so once I started trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do? I don't want to keep this house. I hated being burdened by all the maintenance of it. Now, a lot of people enjoy the maintenance. It gives them something to do, but I hated it. And honestly, I mean, we bought that house when it was brand new, and there were things that were just going downhill because I didn't put the time and the love into it that most people would. So when I started trying to figure out what do we do, I want him out from under this house. I don't want the burden of maintenance. The kids are out of school. We don't have to be here. And then I started remembering those childhood days of being in an RV. So I got on
Oh,
YouTube and started, and I was like, there's people actually live in their RVs.
I know,
And
that's how I was with family,
wow,
right?
we can do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And the whole family was on board with it.
back and forth, wishy-washy. They didn't
There was
like
a lot
it.
of, should I just move out? Should I, I was still away at Baylor when he first approached me with the idea. He was like, when you get home, I've got news for you. And that in my brain is like, uh-oh, something bad.
But I wouldn't tell her what it was.
And he wouldn't tell me what it was. And I was, so, like, the last couple of months, I was, like, worrying. I was like, what does he have to tell me, Like, instead of trying to focus on school, I'm trying to figure that out. And then he pitched it to me as, we're selling that house and going to be living in parks. And I'm just like,
That's probably not the best way to approach that idea.
and it was really unheard of in my generation, at the time. It's starting to be a little more mainstream, but 3 years ago it was like, what is this? So in my brain it kind of equated to being homeless when that's not what it is at all.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the misconception there. I'm just going to roll back here for a second. We got a couple questions here for you, and I hate to miss them.
No questions.
It's no autographs. Oh, if I order a book, can I get it autographed? Like, can I get it directly from you, or do I have to go through a company?
It's direct from Amazon.
But we could.
I mean, I'm sure we could work out a way to get an autographed copy to you.
Well, then I'll get a hold of you when I can finally get into the States, when our borders open up. Not that I have a problem. It's the border. That's how I say that. Once I'm paroled. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So do you live in the winter in an RV is the question that Robin is asking.
We do. We stay full time. We try to stay somewhere where it's not freezing cold or snowy. Some years we have gotten a little bit of ice and we've had to insulate our pipes so they don't freeze and burst, but we do stay in it full time.
But we stay in Thousand Trails, which gives us 3 weeks at a time in one of their parks. So with having to move every 3 weeks, I don't want to be caught up where there's snow and I've got to drive the RV in the snow. So
I don't want to travel in the snow either.
Yeah, we tend to go south. Last couple of years we stayed in Northern California, and
that's where my brother jumped ship.
It gets pretty cold there, but it wasn't snowing.
It's not,
And that's the first year we were here in Texas, and again there was ice. The lakes were iced over, and it was freezing cold. But there was
ice in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Texas has two temperatures: very, very hot and very, very cold.
Oh yeah. I've got quite a bit of pictures of Lake Texoma freezing over. It's really beautiful stuff. Yeah.
So the next question we have for you guys is, how do you get your mail?
We're Escapees members. So we basically pay an annual fee to have a mailbox at Escapees here in Livingston, Texas.
And an address that works for our driver's licenses.
Yes, and then when we want our mail, I shoot them an email and let them know what our current address is, and they will FedEx it, UPS it, or however I instruct them to send it to us.
And you use that as well for your license, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, you're a nomad. So you sold your sticks and bricks. That permanent fixed address is gone. I never thought of that part.
So we live in an envelope in the Escapees house.
But the DMV there is so used to dealing with RVers that they don't even bat an eye.
Well, yeah, because it's such a huge community, and the Escapees Club has made agreements and arrangements with authorities that, if they're looking for you, they're going to give them your last known address. They're, they're not going to try to hide you, for you.
So you got to stay on good behavior.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Except for those segments in the videos.
if you're wanted from the law, you might as well just go off grid.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Muskie, 1963, says, I want to travel, but I would have a hard time getting rid of my woodworking tools. High-end stereo gear for starters. Yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot that's big value. It's sentimental.
What I'll say to that is I've seen people that haul a trailer with their tools in it so that they still have that stuff.
Mhm.
There's people
Yeah,
that do
tools can
woodworking
be
out of the back
used.
of their trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking of someone that does some big time woodwork where they've got all sorts of giant equipment. That would be a little tougher.
That would be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes courage to live the nomadic lifestyle. I'm
Well,
just
there's a lot of folks also that, have a what you might consider a summer home. They call it a base camp, where they're there 3 months out of the year, and then the rest of the time they travel.
okay.
So, if you're able to do something like that, it does give you the freedom to have your stuff that you
Mhm.
need to keep stationary and go on the road as often as you can or want.
Wow. And Robin, you ask as many questions as you want. We have them trapped here. They have to answer our questions, or I'm going to send those deer closer. So Robin would like to know, how do you get the internet when you're on the road again?
It's through our cell provider. We have Verizon, and we have the little jetpack hotspot, and that's our internet. It doesn't always work when the cell towers are overloaded, so you kind of have to deal with that. And a lot of the times, the Thousand Trails that we're in also have buyable internet, so if we need to, we can buy Wi-Fi from them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to drive into the closest town to get good service, but I also have a WeBoost and a 25-foot antenna that it goes on, or pole that the WeBoost cell tower antenna goes on.
So do you feel like the WeBoost was worth the money? Because aren't they quite expensive?
It was almost $500 for the version I got, but it was worth it. When you figure what we haven't had to pay in buying internet every month, yeah, it's definitely
Well,
worth
and there have
it.
been some areas where we were in a complete dead zone without it, and with the WeBoost, we get up to 1 to 2 bars, which is incredibly helpful when you realize that you get nothing without it.
Yeah, I came across that and then I started trying to research stuff, but it's such a big investment. I want to make sure that, I'm not wasting my money, because that is huge when you want to travel and upload your videos and stay in touch with people to be safe.
Well,
Do you guys
sometimes
realize? Sorry, we even have
uploading.
people from England here.
Oops.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Tim.
I was just gonna say, sometimes uploading videos is a challenge.
And we have had to drive into town.
We have had to, on a couple of occasions, drive into town and get a good signal to upload. Otherwise, it would have taken all night to get one video up. But when we were out in California at Russian River during the Kincaid fire, when the authorities cut all the electric off everywhere, there was one cell tower that was up, and with the WeBoost, I was able to get my jetpack working and therefore stay connected and get updates about the fire and whether we had to evacuate and that kind of stuff. So even when T-Mobile and everybody else was down, we had that jetpack was up and working.
Yeah. Wow. Did you know to have that right away because you're kind of a techie background, or did you trial and error to even figure out what you needed? Because it's been 3 years you've been doing this.
I think we did get this pretty early on.
We got it pretty early, but I think we were on T-Mobile then, and I tried their device first. They have something they call a cell spot.
Right, because that was when we evacuated after the hurricane.
It didn't work at all, really. I don't even know how they get away with selling it, but we didn't have to buy it. They provided it as long as we had T-Mobile service. But yeah, that didn't work. So I got searching for other stuff and watched other YouTube videos and found out, what does everybody else out there use? How do you guys do it? And that's the mainstream uses the WeBoost.
And you do have to have internet for work, so we can't just go remote
Yeah.
off the grid for, a week at a time. He has to be
Yeah.
connected to internet and be available when needed. So
Yeah.
All the work I do is remotely. So I mean, web page development and remote support to computer service, all that's done over the internet. So
Wow.
have
Now,
to be
Crystal, you
connected.
just kind of, if I heard correctly, you said something about evacuation. Have you been in
Yes.
a lot of really adverse conditions in your travels?
There's been a few times. We didn't evacuate for the fires, the Kincaid fires, but our first trip at this park, we had to evacuate for Hurricane Harvey that hit 3 years ago. We were at this park, we had to evacuate. Luckily, we woke up one morning and all of our neighbors were gone. And we were like, what happened? Did we run everyone?
Oh my!
Yeah, we were right in this
Same area.
right close to this spot, and you can't really see the river behind us, but if you go back here and it's like 20 foot down is the top of the river, and it flooded so bad that it would have went an entire RV length over top of our RV.
So
How do you even get out fast enough with the traffic of people going when there's big events?
luckily, we had gotten out before the mandatory evacuations hit.
Yep.
When the Rangers said there was a possibility that we would lose internet or power, but it's not mandatory to evacuate yet, we were like, we're going to lose internet. We should just go, not take any chances. It's king.
Yep.
So
by the time we got to the park we were evacuating to, then there was talk of the mandatory evacuation hit.
So we beat the crowds, luckily, that time. Another time was in Ponderosa in California. It was another Thousand Trails park. And it had been raining heavily for a few days, and the Rangers just came door to door and were like, there's a chance of flooding. You guys have to evacuate.
So the 2 evacuations we've done were actually due to the river pending a flood on a river. Mm-hmm. And few of the parks are actually on a river. Most of them are on a lake. But this one and one we evacuated out in California were both on the rivers.
Wow.
But other than that, really, we've been fairly lucky.
Yep.
We've been close to some fires, but not bad enough for the smoke to really get to us.
Yeah. I know you covered it a little bit. Oops, that's the wrong thing I wanted to hit. What exactly do you do? Like, do you work for yourself, Tim? Or do you work for a company?
Well, I work through a company, but basically, I'm my own boss, but I work through a company. So, their customers call me directly when they want work. I do website development. I do computer service, and that kind of stuff. But I'm not on a salary. So, whatever I bill for the company, I get X amount of dollars
contract
per hour
work
that I bill. Right.
Oh, okay.
It's billable hours is what we call it. So,
have you ever word count?
Looked into it a bit, but I haven't yet. That's something that is on my back burner for when I have to. But right now, I'm more interested in enjoying our life. So as long as I get enough hours during the month to actually pay our bills and keep us gas, and then I'm happy. I don't want to work. Honestly, I want to live at this point. I want to get out and explore. I don't want to be tied down 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So if I can build 20 hours a month, I'm happy. And
that's awesome.
It's kind of semi-retirement.
I was playing with the screen. Those deer were back there again. I was like, can I get you guys bigger on the screen? But I don't have the paid version yet, although I'm running out of hours.
Whoops.
So have you guys considered doing some live streaming?
We've talked about it. We don't know if we would know what we would do, because there's so many other people doing live streams where like they do interviews or they have their own thing, and we don't want to come onto the scene and just like straight up copy someone else's. We want to be our own people. So we haven't figured out what we would do
But
if we live stream.
what we are in the works with is collaborations with other channels.
Okay.
We did a skit with RV on the Wayside where we filmed some stuff for one of their videos, and we enjoyed that so much that we wanted to do more. So we got to thinking about it, and we've contacted some other channels, and we said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in doing this with us?" And since we haven't filmed those and put them out there yet, I don't want to talk too much about what it is, but it's it's just trying to bring the community together, doing some things together to promote both channels. And
that actually sounds like it could be exciting because you guys, I see a little bit of theatrics in there. I can only imagine what mischief you could get in with a couple other RVers.
Well, and I did used to be a theater kid.
Yeah.
So,
You know what? I had that feeling. I had that feeling about you. I can see it. It's awesome. So our next question is, what do you guys do for health insurance?
I have health insurance through the company I work for.
And then we buy our health insurance.
We buy. Now my wife is on disability and Social Security now, so she gets her Medicaid, and then work pay. Yeah, the company I work for pays for my insurance, and then we pay for Crystal's out of pocket.
Crystal, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 25.
Okay, so even if you decided to go to school again, you wouldn't be covered anymore then?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it's unfamiliar for me how the healthcare system works for you guys. Being I'm out of Canada, right? It's very different.
It is very different.
Well, it's even confusing for a lot of Americans.
Okay, well, I got a random question here. I don't know if anyone's asked you this, and I know you're sitting beside your dad, but dating, Crystal.
Take it away.
Do you pack an extra tent? Do you?
I joke and say it's so. This lifestyle, he loves to say that he loves meeting the people, and it's always about meeting the people. I like to joke and say that that's great for him because everyone we meet is his age.
Oh, yeah.
Staying primarily in Thousand Trails, the people that I meet that may be around my age are already married with kids. Or they are still a kid themselves,
Well, that can last forever for some. Like me.
So it is tough meeting people my age, and I've looked at Tinder and Hinge, the dating apps, and people on there are weird now.
I know, right?
All you're trying to do is have a conversation with someone, and in the middle of a pandemic, they're like, "Hey, come over," and I'm just like,
come over. I know what you mean, buddy. You might as well have just sent me a naked picture for all that matters.
And when I
know,
backtrack, they're like, "Oh no, that's not what I was asking. I just wanted to talk face to face." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. It's a pandemic, dude."
Yeah, it's a whole different world. I mean, the internet's just changed things. I call most people on dating sites cut and paste people. Mm-hmm. They'll read something and go, "Hey, that sounds cool. I'm going to paste that into my personality online." And then you meet them and you get a whole different vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, I skip all of that too. But I mean, you're so young.
I know. But that is the part that I struggle with a little bit, is finding people my age and connecting with people my age and stuff, And that's something I haven't really found a solution for yet.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah. Well, I think when you find other places to count too, though, where there's maybe a more of a age range, like, have you ever come across that where there's more people that are a blend for ages versus older?
The camping we've done.
Normally what we've seen are old folks and young families, people that, I mean, the 20-somethings we see are usually couples with small children. Mm-hmm. They're, you don't see a lot of younger singles out here.
Can you read this, Crystal? I have food in my fridge older than her. Oh, I love it. You missed her age. She's 25, and you have socks older. Yeah, I know you guys. She's young. That's why I thought it was a little odd when I didn't know they were father and daughter. And I was like, I don't know if he's got a couple bucks in his pocket
There's a
or
little 30-year age difference between us.
Yep.
He was 30 when I was born.
yeah. Oh
Wow.
my goodness. So where is mom in all of these videos? I know she's in your intro, but she's never in the interviews. And
She's not a fan of just any of this, and that she likes to just keep to herself, watch her TV. She doesn't really like hiking or anything, so when we're out hiking, it usually is just the two of us. And she's just, I don't want to say camera shy, but she's not a fan of being on camera.
so does she ever feel left out because you guys are doing so many of those things together?
As long as we're not shopping without her.
Yeah. That's her. She likes to go shopping, so
That's her form of hiking.
Hey, it's good exercise. I mean,
Not
keeping your
really
balance
hard.
on an escalator takes a lot of calories.
Yep. But yeah, she just doesn't like to be on the camera. I guess she's kind of just.
And that's okay, to each their own, right? It's just nice that you guys still have, that dynamic where you can still pursue this. Because that's another thing that's a catch for doing this. I mean, not only are you all living in such a small space, you all, you're different ages, two are doing one thing, someone's doing else like that. You guys are juggling a lot of balls in the air, and you're doing it beautifully.
Oh, and we have 2 dogs.
Oh,
Oh, we used
that's
to have
right.
a fish, but he died, so.
Killer Whale Channels, he thinks it's awesome to do this lifestyle with family. I agree. And Jerry Holly popped up and said hi to you guys. I didn't know if you could see that on your phone. Just so everybody knows, they can't see everything in the chat. Some things I'm popping up kind of quick, but when they watch a replay, then they'll know that you said hello.
Well, Jerry just got monetized, so congratulations, Jerry.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that last night. That was really, really good. Gracie Seeking Adventure says, just watched their intro. Loved it. Cute doggies too, connected and rang the bell. So anybody that is interested in finding their channel, it is listed below in the description of this live stream. So don't panic. You'll be able to find them. It's okay. If not, I got connections now. Oh, someone wants to know how old I am. I am 45. I got 20 years on this girl.
You're still young.
Yeah.
He's got 10 years on you.
I'm still young. I think we're as young as we feel. Like when I see the two of you guys, and you both have high energy and spunk and great sense of humor, it doesn't seem like the age difference is as far as it is.
Well, I'm actually 3 years younger than I was when we started this.
Tim, what? Am I hearing you okay? How did that work? I want to know your secret.
Well, I feel younger. I'm healthier. I'm able to do more. I'm not always sitting behind a computer, not doing anything. So we're getting out and hiking and, always
Just
got
enjoying
something
it.
going on and enjoying life and not just stuck in a room behind 4 walls.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like I'm getting younger each year.
Oh, just making me so much more excited to take off. I still think that whole downsizing is going to be the biggest thing. The biggest.
That was the biggest hurdle for us.
I mean, we honestly, we fought during that process.
Tooth and nail.
And there was 4 of us doing it, and all 4 of us would fight with each other at different times over different things. And,
that would have been some great content.
I want to bring this. No, we don't need that. Why do you want to bring it?
Well, even
I want to
just
bring it.
searching for an RV, we fought. There were times where we were on the way to go look for an RV, and we were arguing so bad we had to turn around and drop one of us off at home.
Yeah.
I think when we finally got the RV, it was just me and him
Yeah.
that looked at it. And then we bought it, and then my brother and my mom saw it. And they were like, okay.
It'll work.
Yeah, when we went and looked at this one, my wife and I were kind of fighting over downsizing, and so she didn't go with us.
Well, and my brother was on his whole, I'm not even going to go with you. I'm just going to move in with a friend kick.
So, but, you know, when we seen this one, I knew it was what we'd been looking for. So I went ahead and put the down payment and said, well, it wasn't a down, it was a retainer.
Okay.
We paid cash outright for it, so I wouldn't have to have payments. And you know, then went home and says we got an RV, and everybody was happy for a minute.
Oh, just a quick note, Jerry Holly, we did quickly discuss her books at the beginning of the show. So thank you for checking with that. Gracie Seeking Adventure says that, you know, she's lived in her house for 16 years and feels, you know, it's so overwhelming to even start.
I think eventually we just had to, for one, we all separated into our little corners, but we each took care of our own personal spaces first. And we just sat down and did it ourselves. Like,
Yeah, what a lot of people do is they have an estate salesman come in and help them go through everything and organize an estate sale. And we actually had one come in. I think he was more of an antiques collector because he looked around and he said, "There's nothing here I can sell. I can't help you guys." And that put us in a. We didn't even want to try to find another estate sale. We didn't. You know, we just at that point we were like, let's just get rid of it any way we can. And
oh, that's so crushing because it means so much to you, right?
Yeah, and that was probably the biggest heartache of it was to hear him say that. But then after we were through it and done with, I kind of realized, you know, maybe not all estate sales people would have treated us that way. I think when I drove by their shop, I realized that they have all these antiques for sale, and they were looking for antiques, and that wasn't what we had. So,
but then again, you were in a time crunch.
A big one.
Yeah. Wow. Were you ever tempted to put stuff in storage?
No.
You like to say that because storage costs so much that after a certain point in time, you're paying more for the storage than what the item that's in storage is actually worth. And we knew that we didn't want to get bogged down by that. So we just didn't even try.
Wow. Wow. Gracie Seeking Adventure says she's going to be making a lot of trips to Goodwill. All donations are tax deductible. Is that like that for every state? Because it's not like that where I live.
We did a lot of Goodwill and Salvation Army as well.
Okay. And you get tax donation credits?
If you actually take it in and have them assess it and give you the receipts and, you know, basic, you know, what the value of it. A lot of it, we were in such a crunch and a hurry. I mean, we were taking stuff up there after hours and just leaving it at their door. So a lot of things we didn't get credit for.
But we were at that stage where we're like, we just want it gone in any way possible. So we weren't really thinking about stuff like that. But if you do it the normal way, then they are tax deductible.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. New Vision Security Services says, good to see you guys. You know them personally, I take it?
We know them from other channels and other live streams that we've been on, so. Hi.
Isn't it interesting when you start a channel and you're doing all this, just the new family that you've created? Like, how has that been for you guys?
It's really interesting because I didn't know such a close-knit family existed. I did Instagram a long time before YouTube, and we'd met a lot of people through Instagram, and a few of them had YouTube channels and would, you know, encourage us to go ahead and do our channel, and we finally did. And then Blue Wave Odyssey invited us to his channel when he was doing live streams, and he was kind of bringing a lot of this community together and getting each other to go and meet each other on their own channels and all that. And I mean, I was just shocked by how tight-knit this community is.
Yeah. And I see that, like, and I was floored too. I had absolutely no idea how that was. no expectations whatsoever. And like the support with the channels, there is no competition. Everybody wants to see everyone be successful. And that's, I almost feel like it's the best of humanity.
It really is. I mean, it's completely opposite than what you see on Facebook these days, or Hatebook, might I say. Yeah.
Jerry Holly has a comment here. He says, when he downsized, it took 14 loads to the Goodwill and a moving truck of furniture to his granddaughters.
Wow.
Yeah.
At one point, we were putting things out on our curb for the trash to take, and we had signs up on our house. We were like, everything's free, come inside, take what you want, and no one did it. But
They're probably like, what's a catch? You're gonna like sign me up and throw me in the basement.
But the second we put it on the curb, we found that people would go overnight and rip open all of the trash bags and just throw it all over the yard and take it that way.
Yeah, they would look through our trash and take stuff they wanted, but they wouldn't come in the house and take it when we had open house.
And we had a few big ticket items that, you know, when the garbage service comes by, they would only take a certain amount of stuff.
Yeah.
But we had so much there that we were waiting for them. We were like, hey, we have this amount of money. Could you take all of this for this? And like they'd split, and they did. They took everything and they split the cash, and it was just such a help. Honestly, because otherwise that stuff would have sat there for weeks and we probably would have gotten fined for it at some point. But,
wow.
And then we had a scrap metal guy come by and just take almost anything that was metal that he could get his hands on, and it was a huge help.
But Jerry, I actually had 3 truckloads of computer parts that I had to get rid of. 3 truckloads of computer stuff.
You can't just throw those away.
Right. I had to go and
recycle them at a specialized place.
I had to take them to a computer recycling center and give them away there. But just,
oh my goodness. You had that much just in bits and pieces of computers. I can't even imagine how much. Well, you did say, you know, you've got family history worth of different things from both sides of your family coming down and staying with you.
Yep.
Plus all this stuff you've accumulated with the family. Wow. Phenomenal. I'm just wondering if anybody else has a question before the hour is up. I don't want to push my luck too much. I know you guys could be watching those beautiful deer that keep scooting back and forth instead of talking to me.
Has it been an hour already? Wow.
I know. It's been so much fun. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I still, like, what are your plans now? I mean, COVID must have changed some of your views of the future.
We were supposed to be in Tennessee.
Yeah, in April we were coming through Texas on our way to do the East Coast, Florida and up the East Coast into New York. And then with COVID, since our home state is Texas, we just kind of said, okay, let's stay around Texas till this is over. And it's not over yet.
Yeah.
But we're so ready to move on that we're at this point we're only still here because we want to vote in person in November.
And I have a wedding to go to. One of my best friends from college is getting married in October. So, and I get to be there for her wedding.
Yeah.
Provided that doesn't get canceled or postponed.
So yeah, we were planning on doing, going east and then coming back through here for October, November, and then heading west again. And so we've just been kind of mulling around Texas for the last few months, and it's been so hot here. I don't remember it being this hot when we lived here, but
all of the bugs.
I mean, I'm ready to move on.
Well, I am so thankful that you guys are willing to come and spend some time with me. I want to remind everyone that their link to their channel is below. And there's so much more than just their channel, because there's all the photography, there's Crystal's books, what else do you guys have listed in there? Is there some merch?
Well, we've got a Teespring site where in the very beginning, I took a lot of our photography and would put it on mugs and T-shirts and things like that. But the only stuff we've ever sold out of there was to ourselves.
And we are looking to revamp that at some point in the future. And there are a couple of things in the works that are happening later this week. You'll have to see our Friday video for what those are.
Oh, yeah. Another quick question to anybody in the chat. Does anybody know who's going live now? If anybody knows, do you want to post a link? Oh, Killer Whale Channels, thank you for dropping their link again. That's fantastic. He did that. He dropped your link. Please connect. So anybody that's been watching this, and if you've enjoyed watching this, please hit the like button. It helps the channel out. Take a look at their channel. They're small but not for long, so get to know them now, or they're gonna forget who you are. That's why I had to snag you guys really quick to be on this channel, so you'll know who I am. Because later you're gonna have so many interviews, there's no way in hell you'd be answering me.
Honestly, I don't want to grow so fast that we start forgetting people.
We
Because,
love having
you know,
the genuine base.
Yeah.
And I'm a people person, even though for many years I was a loner when I worked and was at home. But now that we're in this lifestyle and I've been reconnecting with people, I find that that's my favorite part of life.
And he thrives off of comments.
Oh yeah, love them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so wonderful. I'm just so happy for you guys. And I'm kind of just a little bit jealous. Well, I look forward to checking out your video. I hope everybody here takes a chance to go and take a look at their channel. Thank you guys so much, love. I really appreciated it. You guys
Thank
have
you all for watching.
Yeah, have a great night.
Thank you.
Now, weren't they as awesome as I said they were? Again, if you missed it at the beginning of the video, go to their channel, watch their intro video. It is so cute, and it gives you just a really good snapshot on their family dynamics and the genuineness in their videos. They don't hide real life, and I think that's what I like the most. So I am so thankful for everybody to come out and hang in there. Thank you to the people that moderated for me. If you want to drop the links to your channels right now, that would be greatly appreciated. Killer Whale Channels, you've been helping me out there. Could you please drop your link for everybody? Joey G, all the best from Ontario, Canada. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Muskie. Thumbs up here. Trash Metal and Fun Riffs, you actually watched my dishwasher repair video? Oh my god, I should take that off the internet, but it has like the most views I've ever had. It is the worst thing I have ever created in my life. Boy, you're supportive if you took the time to watch that through. Gracie Seeking Adventures. Since you're here, who was the French couple you interviewed? I actually went back today and put the link to their channel under that interview's description. They are Rustic Gourmets. And they just put out a new video today in English as well. So I already checked it out, so you guys can go check it out. But that's one thing. I did backtrack to anyone that's been following along and added links to all the different channels in the description. So I really hope that helps. Yesterday, I didn't catch who it was. Somebody was asking about links to the merch. I put that underneath in the videos and in the About section on my YouTube page so that that's there. And everyone that's been here today, you guys are just amazing supports. You guys are the ones that inspire me to keep doing this, to even try to do this. So I thank you and I appreciate you all. I want you to have a great night. And tomorrow, I have Bob's Adventure on Wheels here tomorrow. So and we're having it an hour later. It's 6 o'clock Standard Central Time, which I have now learned is also Mountain Time. So I look forward to seeing you guys an hour later tomorrow. Have a great day.